evening, everyone, and welcome to the Tilton Talk Show. It's Monday night. We're sponsored by Small Affordable Cars. I'm Paul Hipkiss, and tonight we're joined by Claire Giblin.
Good evening.
The main man, Chris Brown.
Good evening.
Alan Watson.
Good evening.
Mark Adams.
Good evening, everyone.
And Craig Courtney.
Hey, you saved the best till last. Good evening, everyone.
Oh, who else is coming on?
Wait, what's the sniggering for?
I said, who else is coming on?
Well, we are saving the best till last, though, aren't we, Paul?
We are indeed, yes. Yeah, we are going to be joined by the one and only Harlee Dean around 7 p.m. as well, just in case anyone is tuning in wondering where he is. He's going to be joining us around 7 p.m. But yeah, so a week goes by and we get robbed of 3 points or 2 points at Hull, blatant handball goal, and robbed of a blatant penalty at Millwall, although the performance was much worse than it was last Tuesday. Me personally, I wouldn't have made as many changes on Saturday as what we did from Tuesday night's game. But Claire, you was obviously at Millwall, and give us your thoughts on the whole game first, and then tell us about your experience at Millwall on Saturday.
Yeah, I think everyone was shocked about the whole lineup. I think, we just come off some okay results and, we thought, right, we can go for this. We have to go and win this game. I think the actual changes first half, you could tell they hadn't really played together. I thought we were awful first half. We definitely seem to be a second half team at the moment. We seem to be half asleep. We couldn't string a pass together. I think Drame was superb out of all of them. Yeah. It was crying out for subs to come on. And then he made 4, which was a shock. I think my neighbour knew how I felt. My mum definitely knew. She was sat next to me. But I think, we go 1-0 down, handball goal, blatant cheating, blatant handball. How the linesman didn't see that, I've got no idea. They were all over us. I think getting a point from Hull is one of our bogey teams. It's one of the teams that we always seem to either do really bad or we end up nicking a goal. So I'll take a draw from them. They are flying at the moment. I think Jukovic coming on, Pritchard ball, that's made for Jukovic. And I think Jukovic has got a really big part to play for the rest of the season as well. I think he's going to be scoring some goals that are going to be really important for us. Yeah. So really happy, 1-1 at Hull, absolutely buzzing. Left my house at 8:15, got on the coach. Took a long time to get there. Didn't get there till 1:30. We stopped for half an hour, so it's mild. It's just Millwall. It was hostile. It was, the atmosphere was great, I've got to admit. They really went for us. The atmosphere was brilliant. They were well up for it. It reminded me of when we've had managers who have played for us, like a Bruce and a Monk, and, they've got Neil Harris, who used to run, kick every ball, header everything. Never, he's Millwall through and through, and I think that's what we miss. I thought first half, we weren't great. They were up for it. You could tell that they were. Second half, we got better. We just lack that final... It's that final ball. We didn't seem urgent enough. We didn't realise we were playing Millwall. We've got, Miyoshi in the middle, Paik. They didn't seem to realise when you go to Millwall away, you've got to be stronger. Everybody looks stronger than us. Bakuna, don't rate him on the wing, I'm sorry. He doesn't do enough at back. For what Mark Roberts did for that goal, I don't care if you pushed, mate. You've got to stand tall for that.
Definitely.
And at the end, a handful of them came over and clapped. And to be fair, Bakuna took it all because we weren't all very happy because we had got locked in as well. We had to stay in afterwards. Pritchard took it as well, but a lot of them didn't come over. I do think we lacked that leader. We really lacked the leader at Millwall. It's a shame because it was a must-not-lose game and it's just typical 90th minute. But the noise they made when they scored and the celebrations were ridiculous. It was like they'd won the league. That's how happy they were. So I think we've got to stick together. we've got to get something tomorrow. We've got to keep it in our own hands. Do I think that we need somebody to help Venus? I don't know. A Robbo would be great. Just get him in for like 10 games. Do you know what I mean? I'll give him a lift if he needs one. But we've still got the problem is our away form is awful. We've won 3 away all season. That's our problem. Our away form is woeful. We've got to get better away. We've got to start picking up some points, and tomorrow is massive. Absolutely massive.
I think for me, the best defensive partnership we've had as 2 centre halves this season was at Hull away. I thought Buchanan and Iwood were brilliant together. Yeah. And then I was hoping he was going to stick with that at Millwall, but he didn't. And I'm not saying Roberts, has done us bad. He's done okay. But I just thought after such a good performance at Hull, the way they played together, and I guess the one positive as well is we've only conceded 1 legal goal, haven't we, in the last 180 minutes or plus stoppages. So, we've stopped the rot of conceding a lot of goals, which we did in the previous 2. We conceded 7, but Alan, give us your thoughts. I mean, that's certainly my opinion anyway. That's the positive, isn't it?
Yeah. I just working up towards my after-match report, I made a few notes, and one of the things I said was it was nice to have a decent referee for a change. I scrubbed that out, and I remarked on. I agree with you. The whole back 4 was excellent, and he changed it, and there was nothing wrong with it. Wrong with it. I thought Roberts had a good game. Iwu, fine. And then what happens? The corner comes across, and he was at fault. Pushed or not, he was at fault. Now, a bloke's played nearly 95 minutes without putting a foot wrong and makes a mistake, and we lose the game. That can happen, can't it? I mean, it is. But also said in my report afterwards, the reason we lost wasn't because we conceded a goal in the last minute. We didn't score a goal. And we had Miyoshi had one, and he tried to cross it when he should have shot. He got a clear shot at goal. Stansfield had a couple of clear shots, pulled them wide. It wasn't like there were half chances. That they should have been up in the back of the net. And that's why, and going back to Claire's point, that's why our away form is so poor. It's because we can't score away. We don't score too many at home, but away from home, we don't seem to have that ruthless streak. I mean, we scored 3 goals at home last week, 3 good goals, and conceded 4 bad ones. Now, as I said, if we'd have scored 1 goal on Saturday, we wouldn't have lost, would we? We probably would have won because it would have deflated them, but we certainly wouldn't have lost. You can't keep moaning that, we got beat 1-0 and the ref did this and the ref did that. We had chances to score and we didn't do it, and we've got to change that. Now, my suggestion is we go. What have we got in our locker that we can spring on somebody? And I think George Hall might be the answer. We'd have him and Stansfield up front, who are very quick. Okay, very quick. Yeah. And let's play to that. Fiddling around, bang, off you go, son. I mean, against Hull, he was hauled over. That should have been a red card, and he never even got a free kick. He was away. Why would the fairness was 3 of them behind him and 1 tripped him up? Nothing. Didn't even get a free kick. Now he's going to get him. He's going to get him. If he does that, he did it to Hull. At Millwall as well. He broke away down the right hand side. He got brought down, and the Millwall crowd were all moaning. And I was listening to their commentators, and when they replayed it, he said that was a bloody good decision by the referee because they just whipped his legs from under him. Now, if you've got somebody doing that to them for 90 minutes, even the worst referee in the world has got to give us something sometime. And it's the only thing that we haven't tried so far is a bit of pace up front. And George could be the man.
Yeah, or bring Dukey back for a bit and play him up there with Stansfield and go 4-4-2. That could be staring us in the face as the get-out clause as well. But, I mean, is it just me that's crying out for... And I know a lot of people hate VAR, but, you know, you do get more right decisions than wrong decisions with it. And I know it takes them a long time to get to it, but for me personally, I don't, you know, I hate losing, obviously. I hate losing at anything, but I don't mind losing when I've lost fair and square. And we haven't lost fair and square on Saturday. That was a penalty on Stansfield, and we should have got 2 extra points at Hull because we should have won that game 1-0. And I know it's all should have, would have, could have, but that was a blatant handball. And I'm convinced that with VAR in the last 2 games, you know, we would have picked up 4 points. Mark, give us your thoughts, mate. What do you think, VAR in the Championship?
I think, I mean, I wasn't a big fan of it to begin with, but as the weeks have gone by, the months have gone by, I'm starting to agree with you, Paul. I think we need it because you know, I mean, going back to the actual what's going on off the pitch. A few months ago, we'd have thought, oh, there's a conspiracy against Blues, but it does make you wonder if there is, because we're getting so many bad decisions and bad officials the last few weeks. It does make you wonder. Yeah. I mean, game-wise, pretty much what Claire and Alan have said. I mean, you know, I'd love us to go back to basics a little bit, try and recreate the Dukey and Shea partnership from a few years ago. Just put the fancy football and all the plans on the shelf for 10 games. Let's just go back to basics. Do I think we're going down? I don't think we will. I still think we'll survive. But I'm not panicking, but I am concerned. And we've been saying for weeks, you've been saying, Paul, about leadership. There's none. Each end of the pitch, there's no leaders. I think the closest one is probably, like Claire said, it's probably Pritchard. I mean, I'm starting to like him. I think he's captain material. But, you know, there's just such a lack of leadership. It's untrue. Yeah. You know, I mean, we can say about the previous manager and the disaster that he was in the end, but at the end of the day, those lads who go over the white line, you know, I'm not being corny or anything, but they've got to look in the mirror and have they really, you know, they've got to take responsibility for what they do. And I think a lot of them don't. A lot of them have gone into hiding. That's the thing, isn't it? There was no fight in them on Saturday, really. There's none. You know, you've got to wear the badge. You're representing yourself first and foremost, and this club and the fans. And you know, they need to show more than what they did on Saturday. That's for sure. They need that starting tomorrow. It sounds cheesy, but we need warriors. And have we got any on the pitch? Because I don't think there's many warriors at all. They're more like pygmies. Yeah. I mean, I thought we were better. I thought we were better in that respect at Hull last Tuesday night. I thought that was better, but we were back to square one again on Saturday at Millwall, weren't we? Of all places to show no fight. And to be honest, Paul, I was shocked by that lineup. To tinker with it like that, I was really surprised because that was a really good point at Hull. But to change it like that, you know, I know it's a squad game and rotation, all the rest of it, but we should have just kept the same lineup to start with.
I couldn't understand why Laird didn't make an appeal. Well, I didn't understand why he was on the bench, but I equally couldn't understand why, when you need to win that game, and somebody who can tear up and down that right-hand side and create something. Nothing against Dramé, who played very well, but he doesn't do what Lang does, and you know, become that extra forward, extra. I mean, he's. We play 4-3-3. We play 5-4-4 with him because he's in the line up and down. You know, he's there all the time. So that was a bit of a mystery. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying VAR is the answer to all of our problems. Obviously, I'm just saying that in the last 2 games, we probably would have had 2 correct decisions given in our favour with it than what we got without it. And because the officials are so incompetent in this league, you know, I just think that you need it because you've got people's livelihoods on the line. You know, you've got people's futures on the line. It's in a way, it's more important to get out of this league at the top and stay in it at the bottom than it is the Premier League. Do you know what I mean?
I think, though, we've got to start actually thinking we need to not rely on refereeing decisions. We've got to start playing some football. We've got to start getting some clean sheets. We've got to start scoring some goals because we can say about VAR all we like. It's not going to come in. So we've got to now just start. We've got to start defending properly. I agree. I think the back 4 against Hull was good. However, Millwall are massive side again. They're similar to Ipswich. So I think he probably thought, we'll bring Roberts in to help with the height difference, because we're not a tall team either. When you've got Pritchard, Miyoshi, Buchanan playing, we're not a tall team at all. So he had to bring in Roberts to play. I was shocked that Laird never came in. But this is the one thing, though. We are never consistent with our lineup. It's very rare we go 2 or 3 games with the same team. If you look at all the top teams in this league, I know that we've had injuries and I know we've had suspensions, things like that, but we always seem to swap and change. There'll be a change tomorrow. Be very, very surprised if there's not a change. There'll be a change on Saturday. Which, okay, if you're changing it slightly, so say Jukovic was playing against Millwall, I don't think anybody would have gone, bit funny decision, because actually we need some height in there. They score from lots of set pieces. You would have gone, okay, then no problem. But it just seems a bit, we get to a team and we're changing for them instead of going, this is our best team, we're going to attack you. We go, no, we're too scared of you, we're going to change everything, which, like Hull was probably our second team. But it's simple things what I find. It's like Bakuna could have laid that ball beautifully to James. He's trying to find Tyler Roberts with 3 people by him. The lack of football intelligence sometimes. I'm not saying he's not a good player. He's a brilliant player, Bakuna. He's an artist at his game. But it's like Mowbray said, we need some soldiers in there. And at the moment, I can't find anybody apart from Pritchard who actually put his foot in. And that was against Millwall, who were flying into challenges. And they had the whole ground hostile. And it was great.
I must admit, I'm starting to be won over by this need of leaders and aggression. Millwall didn't stop kicking us from beginning to end. Whenever we did get away, we got lapped. And, there was a lot of finger wagging at their back four. But no, nobody dealt with it. Now, I would like we get booked every time we breathe on somebody, but I'd like to see somebody get booked for a good one. Sorry, ref. And the bloke's rolling in agony. That's what I want to see occasionally. Not too much because we're going to end up with 5 players, but you know what I mean. It's when we pick up these silly bookings, it's for ankle taps and blocking people out instead of woof. There's a 50-50 ball there, and I'm going to make it 60-40. Yeah, that sort of attitude. Look, I watched 2 games yesterday, and there were 3 send-ins after. I watched the Villa match, and I watched the Rangers.
Right, that was good, wasn't it, Al? I enjoyed that one myself.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, I did because I got all my mates down here who support Tottenham saying, "Don't speak to me again if you go and lose to these so-and-sos." And it was wonderful. Now, the commentator on the Villa match said that McGinn was unlucky.
Yeah.
What was he sent off for? He was genuinely going for. Was he balls? He tried to. He tried to cripple the bloke.
Yeah.
And in the Hibs Rangers match, we had 2 more of them, and the 2 commentators saying, "Well, I think he's a bit unlucky there." Now they didn't check those with VAR. Well, gone and stay off.
Yeah, I think. But for me, I'm sick of feeling like this time every year. We're looking down at the league again, and we're looking at the table, and it's just tedious.
Yeah, it's boring, and I think the playoffs have gone, to be honest, Paul.
Yeah, I reckon we kiss that one goodbye.
I am, providing we do stay up this season, then I am looking forward to the future under this ownership, and the club's future is going to be exciting. But we just need to overcome. Everything's all happening at once, isn't it? All at a short space of time. Obviously, our manager's sadly unwell, and hopefully he gets back soon. Because we don't half need him, don't we? You can't half tell the difference when he's there to when he's not there. We played 4 games now without him. We haven't won one of them.
Surely, though, if you're if he's had such a big, obviously, he's a big part of the team, isn't he, Mowbray? Wouldn't you, as a footballer, want to play for him?
Well, yeah.
To me, if somebody's not very well, you would give your everything to play for that manager. They did it when he was there. Surely, knowing he's not very well, you would do even more. This is the problem. We're not got leaders. It's so frustrating. And the fact is that there was fights in the Blues end again. we've all seemed to just gone. We've just gone into. So I don't know what's going on at the moment, but we're sliding down the league. We're fighting our own players. People having to go at people for being on groups and open houses. People are moaning about Rooney. People want cookout. People are worried about Knighthead going or leaving. Literally 2 weeks ago, we won 2 games on the trot, and we were buzzing.
Yeah.
The fact is that the last 3 or 4 games, you've had QPR doing wonder results. How they got a result against Leicester is beyond me.
Incredible.
Stoke all of a sudden won a couple. Millwall are on a run. Huddersfield are winning. That's the problem. We've got to start looking at ourselves and going, actually, we need to start going back to basics and playing some football and scoring some goals and not letting them in. I'd rather win 1-0, hit it off his backside, and it goes in. I don't care about all this lovely flicks and all that.
I said that on
Work
here.
for the badge. We've got so many lazy players, and I'm going to call them out. Bakuna's lazy. Yes, he does do enough, but he doesn't work hard enough to get back. Who else? Dembele is lazy as well, and we've never done very well with lazy players. All of our good teams have had people who work for us, and that's the problem. You've got to put your foot in. We've got to get people down St Andrews. We've got to make it hostile like Millwall did. Because you know what? If I was a player and I set out of Millwall, I would be like...
Bricking.
We need...
Yeah. Good. Well, thank you, Chris, for that one, because I'm thinking other things. But do you know what I mean? You've got to start fighting for this badge, because at the moment we're not, and it's so frustrating.
Yeah, no,
we need some...
Yeah, go on, Mark.
Sorry, Paul. We need someone to set the tempo, don't we? There's nobody setting the tempo at all. It's just responsibilities being passed all over the place.
Yeah.
So, you know...
Yeah. No, they've got to help themselves at the end of the day. They've got to defend better when they can see, for goals. I mean, we have defended better, I think, in the last... Certainly at Hull we did. And for 95 minutes on Saturday we did as well. So for me, I wouldn't change anything. I wouldn't bring Sanderson back in, put it that way, if it was up to me. I don't think we need him back in there. And he's certainly not a captain, is he? And we conceded 7 in the previous 2 games before he was out. So I wouldn't bring Sanderson back in the team if it was up
who's
to me.
that captain? That's our problem. Every week we're changing captains. Every week we're changing the back four. We're changing everything. We're swapping and changing here, there, and everywhere.
Anderson, Claire, would you play him tomorrow? Is he available tomorrow? Anderson?
Not available, is it? I don't think.
No, I would go the back four that we had at Hull.
Yeah, I would.
I generally would. I would definitely play Laird.
As soon as Sanderson's available, though, would you put him back in straight away? No.
He's not available. He's got until Saturday as well.
It depends.
Right, okay.
You've got. If it doesn't matter who you are. I know he's not flavour of the month, Sanderson. But 6 months ago he was a gift from God. I mean, we chased him all the way around the West Midlands during the close season, getting him to sign, and everybody was overjoyed when he actually did. And he's played all right, but at the moment he's going through a very bad patch. And the gentleman who's about to come on, that's the first question I'm going to ask him, because he was an expert at having bad patches, and they left him out. And when he come back, it was usually because somebody got injured, or there was no. I mean, he hadn't played any football himself to warrant being selected. But when he got back in that side, he was bloody great. Every time he got left out, he came back and rolled his sleeves. I'll show you so-and-so's. I'm the man. And it doesn't matter whether you're Sanderson or anybody. If you're at the side, I'm going to show you. And the 2 we picked on there, Bakuna, sometimes he does. Sometimes he's left out, he comes in, and you'll think, that's better. And then other times he'll come back in and he looks like he don't care. The same with Dembele. He'll come on the field and do something really good, and he goes, that's better. And then he disappears.
Anyway, Craig, I was just coming to you, and then you disappeared. Talking of disappearing.
Yeah, I know it's great, isn't it? It's a laptop. I was cursing, put it that way. I mean, the thing that I would say across all of this is all the players that are on the pitch, doesn't matter who they are, right? They're all playing ultimately for their job, because even there's the numerous numbers that are out of contracts at the end of the season, right? But everybody else that's there is also not safe. So they need to be putting a shift in. to show the current owners and the people that are behind the club that they want to play. And it's not about playing for playing football. It's about playing for the badge. It's about playing for the club. Most importantly, it's about playing for the fans and turning up, because a sellout away end at almost every single game, spending thousands of pounds a year to see drivel, and that's what it is. But then we've also got to play our part, because the one thing was on Saturday, the fans stuck behind them. They vented at the end, but they stuck behind them. We've got an opportunity tomorrow and Saturday against teams that, we should be on par with, to be down there supporting, be loud and proud, right? The club have released a great offer. So we've got, 13,000 season ticket holders, I think, or just shy of that, right? Every season ticket holder can buy a ticket for the games, 30 quid for an adult for both games, 10 quid for kids under the age of 11, I want to say, right? There is no reason whatsoever for us not to have near enough full houses. I know it's late for tomorrow, but Saturday should be massive. Not just that, there are so many people at this present moment that are whinging that they can't go and see UB40 because they haven't got a ticket stub and they haven't got a number to go with. Well, guess what? You only need 2 games. Here's your chance. If you're that interested in the club, get off your backsides, get down there tomorrow, get down there on Saturday and back them. Because if we don't back them, they're not going to do anything. We are the 12th man. We're the 12th man throughout, and we can really, do with doing this and getting it done. We can do this, and we can be away from trouble in next to no time if we all stick together.
Is the ticket office open till late tonight? And
I don't know whether it's open late, but one thing I can say is obviously you can book your tickets online, and it costs. I want to say it's about £1 to get the digital ticket sent through, but it's so easy. And as a season ticket holder, I'll put it out there, right? I'll help anyone. If they want tickets, reach out. I'll help you. And we'll sort it out. As a group of fans, we can make it happen. The club are asking for the help. Let's do it. If the players then don't turn up, we have a reason to vent, but don't vent during the game. Vent at the end.
I think it's good that they've reacted, and they've done this for the next 2 games, but you've got to give people a bit more notice. And for me personally, I think they should have just done it for the rest of the season, every single home game.
It hasn't, I've got to admit, being on the group I was on Monday, I said about doing it more, kids for quid.
Yeah.
It didn't. The thing with Sunderland was it made more of an impact, but more people brought £32.50 tickets because they didn't want to miss out.
Right.
So with all these stuff going on, so I said, why don't we do more kids for quid, get more people in? But they went, doesn't make much difference at all. So
I think just we've got an opportunity to back them to the hilt. Now, from what I understand, after the game on Saturday, there were a few home troops said in the dressing room, which I absolutely love. And the sheer fact that it's coming off players that are just signing for the club, right, rather than those that are long-lasting and been there a while, for me, that man, if it's true, and because it's all speculation, you never really get to find out, but if it's true, fair play. But that should be enough to be, don't need a team talk. Go out and show people.
Yeah.
Turn up tomorrow night and kick the ball like mad. Kick the hell out of everything that goes in front of them and show them what can be done.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Someone joining us.
Harlee Dean, he's a great defender.
Oh, Claire, you've gone all soft and squishy again.
I have. I'm not having a fangirl moment. I'm sorry. This is how it's going to be whenever anyone comes on that I like.
I'm delighted to say, we're now joined by a man that is a great defender, that's better than Chris Samba. It's the one and only Harlee Dean.
How you doing? You all right?
Harlee.
All right, guys. You all right?
Yeah, we're okay.
Yeah. All good.
Good.
All good.
Well,
Thank you very much as well for joining us this evening. I know Paul was probably about to say that, so I do apologise for stepping in.
No, fine.
Go on, Paul.
so those things, how you doing?
I'm all right. I've literally just got back from Reading today, so I've got in about half hour ago. I had to have a meeting afterwards, so a lot of driving for myself, but I'm all right.
Yeah, and those things going at Reading.
Oh,
Yeah,
Be honest.
I think the lesson about that better.
yeah. I know. Good. It's sad to see, all football clubs that get in any situation like that. It's just sad to see, as a football fan as well as a Blues fan. I'm a football fan, and there's only certain clubs that I'd like to see in that mess, and Reading isn't one of them.
Yeah.
So,
Do you know what's so strange about it? The actual owner has obviously invested a lot of money into the club. He's built a training ground, 70, 80 million, playing squad over the past 2-3 seasons and stuff like that, the budget they've had. So I know it doesn't look good on him right now, and this is just my opinion, but he must have actually gone skint or something, because I don't think you'd invest that much money and care about something that... I mean, the training ground, you should see it, it's incredible.
Yeah.
So just want to see it burn to the ground. But, I mean, I experienced it at Blues, but that was nothing compared to what this is now at Reading. Reading's a different kettle of fish.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And let's go back to the start of your time with us then. So, obviously, the last day of the transfer window, 2017, we've got Harry Redknapp, and we have a bit of a trolley dash. And, on the last day, we signed yourself, we signed Hotter, we signed Maxime. Though we signed you all three on the same day, was it? Or was it like within the space of a couple of days?
No, do you know what it was? I come first, and Harry went to me, is there anyone else there worth taking?
No, he didn't. Did he really?
Yeah. And I said, obviously, Max and Yotta. That was our right side of the team, really, at Brentford. And Yotta was actually on his way up to Middlesbrough at the time to sign for Gary Monk, funny enough. And next day they was all there, and we was all back together again.
Yeah, and I was there at Norwich when you made your debut as well. I saw you there, Alan, actually. I remember. And I think we had about 6 players making their debut in that game, didn't we? There was yourself, there was obviously Hotter, there was, I think Liam Walsh was in midfield.
I remember Walshy, yeah. Lowy,
who else?
Jason Lowe, Jason Lowe?
Yeah, Jason Lowe was in
midfield.
Yeah, he was in midfield, and we had Sam Gallagher as well up front, didn't we, making his debut? And Jeremy Boger as well, was he making his debut as well, I think?
Yeah, I think he might have come off the bench. I'm not sure if he started, but he was definitely... God, I forgot about him. He was a good player, he was.
Yeah. He was, yeah.
If you had him in... never really done it in a match, did he? I remember Sheffield United away, he played well, but in training, you couldn't get the ball off him.
No. Yeah. So, but yeah, it's literally this season, isn't it? Your first season not being at Blue since then, isn't it, as well? And I guess that ride, obviously, that you was with us, obviously, it must have been a bit of a roller coaster for you, obviously, signing in 2017 and not leaving for that long. It was ups and downs, to say the least, wasn't it, for that period of time?
Yeah, do you know what? If you could go in hindsight, like, you always look back and go, I should have stayed at Brentford, because I was captain there. They would offer me a new contract, but Brentford come in, Harry Redknapp, I'm a West Ham fan. He wanted to sign me. You see all the signings they've made. Stocky was there, who'd been the best goalie in the Championship for my whole time in the Championship so far. And you just thought that's the way to the Premier League, but obviously it wasn't. Brentford got there first. But that's me in hindsight saying I shouldn't have left, but would I have changed it? Now, no, because I loved my time there, as hard as it was. The relationships I built up, living here. Kids are both little brummies now and spell mum with an O, so...
Yes.
That's the correct way then.
Well done.
That's how it should be.
I wouldn't change it for the world. Never really had any success, but I actually value some of the years that we've stayed up, because it's a lot harder than it looks to do. And I think obviously this year you can see that it's never really going to be, well, I worry this year because all the old guard that continuously kept us up year after year after year, they're all out of contracts at the end of this season. So does it mean as much? And that's not questioning their professionalism, because I think they'll do it for themselves regardless. But looking at how tight that is down the bottom now, this is the most worried I've been, and obviously I'm not playing there. So
yeah. And in that time you was with us, it was 7 managers that you played for, I think it was, wasn't it? So there was Harry, there was... What was it like going from Harry to Steve Cottrell in that period of time? Obviously, I was so excited when we got Harry as our permanent manager, and then you've just signed, and obviously, you know, we've attracted the likes of Hotter and Stockdale, and with all due respect to Steve Cottrell, I doubt he would have done that. So what was it like from Harry to...
I think I got about 9 days with Harry. I think that was it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure then 9 days we had 3 games in a week. I think we played Preston, Norwich and Leeds.
Yeah.
And Leeds away, was it Leeds away? Yeah, it was Leeds away. And I think we lost 2-1, but we played well. Norwich away, can't remember the score. I think we lost
1-0.
Yeah, we lost 1-0, and we didn't do bad again. And then Preston at half time, I think we was 2-0 down or something like that. And I think Harry knew then that he was gone before the game had even finished. So, yeah, it was just a whirlwind, really. I'd signed there, moved up here, was trying to find somewhere to live. The manager was gone. Then Steve Cottrell come in and done the old, none of you were fit enough, and we had 2 weeks of just running the maddest runs I've ever done in my life. And then you're just going down that road until Gary Monk come in.
Yeah, and he made us look like a different team completely with the same players, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, do you know what, Steve Cottrell actually, as eccentric he was, and I know like how it finished for him with the fans and stuff like that, that fella cared, like, he was in first out, last out, and you could physically see the toll it took on him. He really cared and he really tried his hardest, but he just got dealt a bad hand, I think, and ultimately it didn't work out for him, which sometimes it does in football. Sometimes it doesn't in football, but I actually liked him, and I still speak to him if I ever see him now or anything. He just got the Forest Green job, and I gave him a little text to say well done or whatever, but was someone who cared, but I just don't think he had that way of relaying it to get people on side at the time. I mean, obviously Gary Monk come in, and apart from Gaffer John Eustace, that was sort of my favourite time at the club. Gary Monk sort of changed the whole thing, didn't he? And really brought everyone back together. And we obviously played that season. We was having a good season, got the points deduction, and I think but if we'd have had a few other players that year, I think we'd have got playoffs under him that first season. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah. We've got some questions coming in for Harlee on the shout box, Chris.
Hundreds.
We've got loads.
I know.
Go on, Craig. You go through them.
Yeah, go on, Craig.
Yeah. So, I mean, first of all, a lot of love for you, Harlee. That's the thing from all of the fans. A lot of thank yous for your time at the club, but also some of the standout performances, especially with the goals in that particular season where, arguably, without your goals, we actually probably wouldn't have stayed in the league. So there's a lot of love for those. One of them you've already answered, I think, which was from John Chapman. He said, do you actually still love the Blues and do you miss being there? And I think I've already heard yes. So there's an answer to that one.
Yeah. I wish I was still there, 100%. And I thought I was going to be. I thought there was... if Eustace was there, I think he knew he weren't going to be there at the start of the season, but January just gone. The January that I was still there, they was told they was going to give me another year. Eustace wanted to. And then I think got to the end of the season, I think he knew the writing was on the wall, so unfortunately it didn't happen. But I'd go back there in an heartbeat. Loved it, loved the lads still, seeing them all Wednesday, so obviously still live here and that, and can't say a bad word about anything, to be honest.
There's another one which is Dave Twine wants to know, do you still shrug?
Do I still shrug? I thought I was going to get asked that, so I'm going to tell the story about it now. I had no reason to do that other than, I'm not even going to say his name, I'm just going to say his nickname. He's a sports therapist at the club. He's called Egg. And before the game, he went to me, I'd always go and get my calves and hamstrings rubbed before the game. And he went, if you score tonight, you got to do the shrug celebration after Karanka. And I was just like, yeah, all right. And it must have just stuck in my head because normally when I score, you see me, my eyes go wide open and it's like I don't score that often, so I'm like off running and whatever. And it must have just stuck in my head because I've just ran away from everyone and just stood there. And bearing in mind, there was no one in the stand, was there? So I was just standing there doing that thing. And then afterwards, I just realised what I'd done and how bigot sort of. Then someone sent me a GIF that had been made into a GIF, and I was thinking, oh Jesus, because I actually got on with Karanka as well. I think I played probably arguably some of my best football underneath him that season, and it ended up looking like a terrible dig at him, didn't it?
I think for me, my favourite celebration of yours was at Rotherham, the Maradona World Cup '94 one, when you went right up to the camera like this.
Yeah, again, I didn't even know the camera was there. That was just by luck.
Another question. Obviously, you moved with Hotter, and Warren Starling's just asked, why do you think it was that Hotter didn't hit it off at Birmingham? Was it a move at the wrong time, or was it just unfortunate that it just didn't fit?
Do you know? I think you could say the same thing about all of us at time from Brentford, though. I think from what we were, the way we were playing, to then coming to Birmingham, I don't think any of us really fulfilled our potential. We've had good careers at Birmingham, but I don't think what I mean is, from when we left Brentford that day to what we all thought was going to happen for ourselves individually or as a collective, I don't think any of us did. I think we just ended up riding, like just going ups and down pieces, but there was never really a rapid increase in anything. And I think that was probably down to the style of football that we played. It changed every 6 months with every new manager that come in. There was never really any consistency, whereas at Brentford we had a philosophy, and we knew, like, regardless of the manager coming in, we played the same way all the time. Jota was incredible for Brentford, and then he comes to Birmingham. We was in a bad run of form, and you got players like that when you're in them sort of situations, which we'd never been before. You can't really afford to play them because, all right, they're going to go and give you something unbelievable up top, but right now we need you to help us defend the cross or defend whatever, and he just wasn't that sort of player. But then I'll counter that with when Gary Monk come in, Gary Monk obviously wanted Jota at Borough. I thought he played really well, but then he had a double hernia, which he was playing with, which obviously the fans don't know about and stuff like this. And when you play with them, you're at 60% maximum, but he was doing a job for us, you know what I mean?
Yeah. He's apparently a billionaire now, isn't he, Hotter? He's got his own business.
I spoke to him the other day. It's something to do with an app and crops and farming and stuff like that. And he basically invested he's the sole investor into it.
Wow. Fair play to him.
One other one that's come through, sorry, Paul, is actually from, and it leads on nicely to conversations that we've had, but Lisa Field has sent in a message from Ryan. He's age 12, and he said, how do you feel about the fact that your son has just recently signed for the Blues Academy? And how did he feel to see Harlee Dean signs for Birmingham on the big board?
Do you know what? So he got told at training the week before. The coach pulled me and him, and he trains on Wednesdays and Fridays, and I always take him if I'm not away Friday night, which I haven't been a lot lately. And the coach he said, look, you're going to be the first one of the age group that we want to sign to push all the other lads on. Like, how do you feel? And he went, yeah, good. And I was thinking, like, he showed no emotion or whatever. But then once he left, he got in the car and his smile was like nothing I'd ever seen before. And didn't really ask much about it, didn't really say anything. Then, obviously, the next week, the club had said to us, I'd come into the stadium for signing day. So I wasn't expecting anything major. I thought we'd just go in there, back office or something. And they'd done it unbelievably. We walked into reception. They've done all the reception up there. I hadn't been back for a while. And his screen was on the back. His picture was on the back screen. They took him up. We went into the owner's box where they'd had all food laid on, shirts and like the contract laid out. And then in the back, obviously the glass backed onto the pitch. And on the big screen, his picture was up. And they took him around the pitch, showed him the changing rooms. And I've always said a big thing to him, like, if he's not, I don't want him being there just because of me. Like, if he's not good enough, you tell him, blah, blah, blah. I don't want a big fuss and this, that, and the other. So I said to him afterwards, this is a bit much. And he went, no, I said, this is a new ownership. He said, like, this is the way that they want Birmingham to be seen. So anybody young coming through, they're all getting the same treatment. And I thought it's incredible. And it's the happiest I've ever seen him, ever. And he knows I try and take a back step. I just let him. I'll play with him, but I went through the stage of trying to coach him, and I thought, what am I doing? He's 6. Like now he's 7. I just whatever he wants to do, he wants to do, and if he enjoys it, he enjoys it. So he knows it's just the beginning, but I think he's got a chance. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think Lilypad earlier who asked, out of all the managers that you played at under Blues, was there any that you clashed with?
All of them.
Yes.
Don't worry, they're not listening.
No.
You won't tell anybody.
I clashed with Pep Clotet. Quite not. It was one. It's in real moment, and it was. We'd just been told we was going into like football stopping because of COVID. So we was doing like a session when we knew everyone else had stopped, and something happened. We ended up having a full blown argument on the pitch, calling in this, he's calling me that, he sends me in, and then we went into no football for 3 months, or I can't even remember how long it was. So it just left there. So I'm thinking, oh, what's going on? Then as soon as we come back in, he was like, oh, sorry about that. I was having a bad day, and I was like, yeah, I shouldn't have reacted, blah blah blah, and it was all fine, but. Steve Cottrell, obviously when he first came in, he didn't play me for the first few weeks, and we was away somewhere, and it's a funny story. We was away somewhere, and he went, right, I was sitting there having food, and anyway, I stayed and watched the game afterwards, and all the lads went up to their room or whatever, and Steve was sitting over the other side of the room, and he ends up coming to sit with me, and he went, you're the only one watching the football. I went, I love football, I always watch it. And he went, right, we're going to have a conversation now. He went, I want you to put here what you think of me before this conversation. I'll put here what I think of you before this conversation. Then afterwards, we'll go back to it. And I was like, all right. So he's put his, I've put mine. We've had a conversation for an hour or whatever. And he goes, so what did you put? And I put, a bit of a prick. and he went, well, I said, what did you put? And he went, he put Essex wide boy. And I went, oh, that's a bit strong. And he went, well, that's what I thought. That was my preconception of you, like from being in here for the past. And he went, has yours changed? And I went, yeah, like, I think you're good as gold. I don't know where the problem's been. He went, mine's changed to student of the game. Well, as soon as he said that, someone's heard him, and that's all I'm getting called from all the lads for 3 months. That wasn't really a clash. That was just I suppose we needed that conversation to happen for him to change his opinion on me, really.
Yeah. Alan, I think you had a question for Harlee, didn't you, as well?
Yeah, mate. We were discussing the current team and players who've fallen out of favour and not playing as well as they should do and all the rest of it. And I said to the group that you were coming on, and I said you were the prime example of somebody who'd had downsides to your career with Blues, and you'd been left out or you'd had it up, whatever. And I said, but every time that you did, when you came back, you were outstanding. Yep. It was like you rolled your sleeves up and said, I'm going to show these so-and-sos I can play. Mm-hmm. And if you was manager of Birmingham now, and we told you which players we were talking about, would you put that to them, saying, don't grizzle, don't moan, just roll your sleeves up and get out there and do your job? Because that's how I always saw you. And I said to people, I'll have Harlee Dean in my side anytime, whether he's playing good, bad, or indifferent, because you know what you're getting.
Yeah, I appreciate that firstly. The one thing I think I obviously got touted with was that I'd start well, go poorly, end well. But I think that's Birmingham, though. Is that not how my whole time? Is that not how the seasons went? You have a good start, everyone gets hope, then we drop off, and then when it becomes, oh shit, it's the fan, we'll come out of it somehow, and someone's got to come out of it looking well. I think there's always been scapegoats as well. Yeah. Before me, it was Groundsy. I think Robbo's had his time with one. I even remember a bit last year, people getting on Big Dukey's back, and I think that fella is the epitome of Birmingham for me. I don't know. Obviously, I didn't hear who he was talking about in the current crop.
We're talking about them all, to be honest. We've all got people who we pick on. It's his fault because he's not doing this, you know.
That's football. Everyone's got their own opinions, and that's I suppose it's how they deal with them opinions if they are listening to them. I think that's what this relates to, sort of what I said at the beginning of the show. This is why I'm more worried this year, because the older ones you've always relied on, they're not going to be there necessarily next year. I think they're out of contracts and stuff like this. So then you're relying on your Dion's, who's a proper lad, who's a fighter. I imagine Big John might have another year. I'm not too sure, but he's not going to let no one muck about. But then you've got a lot of new lads that I don't know that have just signed this year, and I don't know their characters. I don't know what they're like. I don't know how driven, how determined they are, if they know the severity of the situation. So from being on the outside, it's quite hard to sort of say anything about the current crop now, because I don't know that many of them. But the ones I do know, I know that they will be showing the importance to everyone, rolling their sleeves up and doing it daily in training.
Well, it's interesting, Harlee, that you said that, because Dion is one of the ones that is at the moment getting a bit of stick. Right. You know, he's not playing his best. He's not rolling his sleeves up and you know, he's out of form, and I don't think he really knows how to get back into form.
The only thing with Dion,
pardon? Sorry.
The only thing I'll say with Dion is I think his partner's changed a lot lately. I think he's constant. He's never really had a relationship with someone. He was playing with Longy, then Longy went, then he was playing with that Awu fella. He's in and out, and then Robbo, but then Robbo's got injured, and so it's difficult. And he's only 22 years old, or 22, 23. The weight of that armband is heavy, especially when times ain't going well. So is anyone looking after him? Because, all right, he might be the captain, but he's only a young kid, so is someone there to put their arm around him and go, like, come on, sometimes he needs help. He's not, he's a leader, but he's not been around, done it, whatever, which I imagine Big John, Jukey, boys like that are. But the weight of that armband is tough. And I've seen St Andrews packed lately. So if they're on your back, you're feeling it. Do you know what I mean? So it could just be something as simple as that. Or
when you went through that experience, when you went on a downer, did whoever was manager at the time, did they put their arm around you, or did they kick you up your backside?
Well, I think I had more than a couple. So I remember Gary Monk. I started really well, and remember him turning around to me and going, I think you're the best centre half in the Championship right now. And it made me feel 10 foot tall.
Yeah.
And then I remember other times when Lee Bowyer and Mark Kennedy sat there with me and went for a clip out, and he went, "You're going to get me sacked, Mark." And I'm thinking, like, we've got a game tomorrow. Like, that's not going to help me. And everybody's different, and all managers are different. I've never really needed anything from a manager. I know myself if I'm playing well or I'm not playing well. And the one thing I've always done my whole career is make sure that I've ticked everything throughout the week. So if there's a gym session, I've done every rep of everything. If there's a training session, I've worked my hardest. So that there is an excuse. I played bad on Saturday. It's not because I didn't do that on Tuesday. It's just because I played bad on Saturday. So, which I think is the only thing you can do, because there's always going to be good games and bad games, but you've just got to try and stay on an even keel.
Yeah. Was that the season you enjoyed the most, Harlee, under Gary Monk? And was that the best partner you had throughout your time with us next to Morrow for that season? Because I thought you were both superb.
I think so, yeah. I think just the way we were set up, just the way we were set up, everybody knew their roles and responsibilities. Everybody knew everybody else's roles and responsibilities. And we enjoyed being that team that we were just horrible to play against, but when we was going to hit you, we was going to hit you. Shay was obviously on fire that season. Jukey was on fire. Mags. We had Digger and Keith in the middle. We were just a good, solid team. And I think we played how Birmingham play. We was a solid counter-attacking team, big on set pieces and big on challenges. And it was similar with John Eustace last year as well. I really enjoyed the way he played. I know people might say it might not look the best, but I did think it was effective. And I just think when we had Gary Monk, we had a better quality of player.
Yeah, no, absolutely, yeah. Claire, have you got anything you want to ask Harlee? I know we've got quick fire questions coming up, but have you got anything you want to ask him yourself?
Yeah, like hi Harlee, by the way. I think one of the best goals I remember you scoring was the Fulham one.
Right.
How was that in front of a full St Andrews? Because it was literally bouncing that day. What was it like?
I think that was that my. I'm not sure if it was my first ever goal either. I think
it was, yeah, for us, yeah, I think it was.
So a little backstory into that: we was in the dressing room beforehand, and I'm never really one to speak in the dressing room or anything. I think it's a bit for show, and I'll just say if I speak, then it's the way I work off of someone that I grew up playing with, and when he spoke, he listened because he didn't speak that often, but when he said something, you went, "Oh right, you've got to listen to this." So I ended up saying something just before we went out, and got a bit carried away, and don't really remember the ins and outs of it. But fast forward probably a year, not the next season after, we played Leicester in a pre-season game. Brendan Rodgers was the manager. And he come up to me, he went, "I heard you gave the most inspiring team talk ever given, the most inspiring team talk ever given." And I was like, "What do you mean?" He was like, "Before the Fulham game." And I was like, "Oh yeah, do you know that?" He went, "Oh, Gary Monk told me." The manager wasn't even in the dressing room. He always waited in his office, so he must have heard it through the wall or whatever. But my point is that I think that me giving that, I just hyped myself up, and we knew that they were going out there to get promoted that day, and we knew we had to win to stay up. And I just think to a man, we was all sort of on it, and scoring the goal just seemed like it was, just one of them things that was meant to be because I'd already said something beforehand. What are you
doing tomorrow night, Harlee?
Give us the team talk.
I'll probably be sitting on the bench against Derby, if I'm honest.
I was going to say, going back to the current day, Harlee, we've been talking earlier about, if we're not going to have a manager in the dugout possibly for the rest of the season, do you think there'd be a benefit in getting yet another sort of interim manager in? Would you stick with the number 2? How would you feel if you were a player and you saw like a Neil Warnock, for argument's sake? Do you think that would inspire them to raise the game, or do you think it's not worth it, or what's your take on it?
Do you know what I finally think? I think they had the right appointment in Johnny Eustace, but I think since Gary Monk, I think Tony Mowbray's the right appointment. Finally, I think he's
100%. Yeah,
everything that Birmingham's needed for a long time. Obviously, I wasn't there under Rooney, but to get rid of Eustace for no reason whatsoever, and we all know the way that went with Rooney. I think they made a mistake in getting rid of Eustace, but now I think they've got Tony Mowbray, so he obviously trusts his assistant, and I imagine the lads respect him because they respect the manager. So bringing somebody else in now would be typical Birmingham, but I don't think it needs to happen. I think I'm sure he might not be there day to day, but I'm sure he's having input and stuff like that on the team.
Yeah, Bill Mint's asking, do you ever come and watch us now? Have you been back to the game since you left?
When have I did get to a match. What did I watch? So I'm always sorting tickets out. I've got a lot of friends around here, and I'm forever sorting tickets out for the lads. But I went to, it was a Sunderland game, 4-3.
Oh right, okay.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. No, that's it. Just one. I've been obviously with Reading, so games usually clash and stuff like that. But and even Friday nights, really, I'm not really a fan of going on a Friday night because you don't get home till too late, and if we've got to play tomorrow. But I watch them whenever I can on the TV and stuff like that, and obviously still got a massive interest in them. Mainly because I've got a lot of friends there.
Yeah, absolutely. What was the high and low points at Blues, and what advice would you give? What advice would you give now you've moved on? I guess he means to obviously the lads now. That's from Nigel Mann, so one of our regular viewers.
Highs and lows. I think the low was when I got left out with Bowyer. That was a low. And I think the high was coming back under Eustace.
You scored at Stoke, didn't you?
Yeah.
Remember that?
My dad had come to that. My dad don't come to all the games, but he decided to come to that one, and he took little Harlee with him. And I scored, and they was all singing the Harlee Dean song, and little man thought it was for him. My dad was going, "They're singing for you," and he was like turning around. And that was one of my favourite moments, actually. That whole game, I just loved everything about that game. I think them and the advice of the current crop now is just got to buckle up, because it's going to be a ride for these 9 games. You've just got to try, and I'm not too sure of the fixtures and stuff like that, but I've never seen it tight as it is down the bottom now. So just listen to the likes of Dukey, Evers, Big John, Robbo, because they've been there, done it, and they know what's needed. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%, definitely. Ian Clayton's asking, I'll follow on this question as well with another question. So how good can Scott Hogan be? And do you actually think, he's just said how good can Scott Hogan be, but I'll also add to that, do you still think he could do a job for us now as well? Because we are lacking goals.
100%, but that's football, isn't it? Like, it's like saying that about Dukey. Do you think he can still do a job? Because but he proves every time he gets a chance, he can still do a job. Scotty is probably one of the best finishers I've ever played with, but he's just got that thing about him that just makes people think that he's not asked. He's got that demeanour, that moping sort of, but it's just the way he is. Like, you speak to his missus, he's like that with her. It's not, that's just his...
He's quite laid back, is he? Quite a laid back.
Yeah, he's the most laid. Like, I've known him for, 10 years now, and we're all family, the friends of family and stuff like that, and he's just a laid back person. Like, I don't care or whatever, but that's just, he needs to be himself for him to produce, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
The minute he starts getting on his own back is when you see him miss chances that you expect him to score. I'm not too sure. Like, I know he's not getting the rub of the green. I know he's not involved and stuff like that, but that could be political, contracts, etc. So I don't know much about that. But at the same time, I think you've got the boy up top, Stansfield, who's having a real good season. So sometimes you're just down the pecking order.
Yeah, definitely. Do you remember scoring in this shirt, by the way, at QPR, in that mad 4-3 game?
Yeah, out of absolutely nowhere, just jumped up free header.
Yeah, that was a crazy game. And Campy saved the penalty, didn't he, in the last minute?
Yeah, I think we 3-0 up, and then I remember 3-1, the ball was down the left-hand side, and I think I kicked it out for a corner instead of a throw-in. And I was like, and I didn't mean to do it, obviously, and then they scored, and I was like, oh no, got in at half-time, and Gary Monk was like, great first half, but what happened there? And I was just thinking...
just for a bit of fun, we've got Claire's quickfire questions. I've renamed it, Claire. It's now Claire's quickfire questions.
Yeah, no.
I'm happy to do that. Right, ready?
Yep.
What was your blues initiation song?
We was in Norwich. It was Norwich away, so I sung I Believe in a Thing Called Love by the Darkness, because I think they're from Norwich. It was quite apt at the time. But we did have 20 people performing because there were so many new signings. So
you're overthinking this, mate. You really are.
What do you normally do when you get home from a game?
When I get home from a game, well, if it's a day game, like at 3 o'clock, I'm just with the kids until they go to bed, and that's sort of malarkey. But if it's a night game, I usually sit and stare at the ceiling for about 3 hours.
What's with the people who you played with? What would be your five-a-side team?
From Birmingham.
Yeah.
Well, I've already said it. I have to go Jeremy Boga then, because he was incredible in five-a-sides. Dan Crowley was incredible in five-a-sides as well. Useless in 11, but incredible in 5. Jay Adams. So that's 3. I'd put Maxine Collin in there just because he was a jack of all trades. Goalie, I would put...
Tushak.
I'd put Donald Truman.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, a very good shot stopper, and five-a-side, he could play with his feet. Yeah, I'd go him.
Good call.
Nice, yeah. Shot stop, Truman.
Is that 5? Have I done 5 there? I think so.
Yeah. Who's the best player you played against?
Probably the year it was Chelsea, so it was Hazard, Willian, and Fernando Torres. Yeah, them 3, they just run to each other everywhere.
The
Who's the best player you played with?
It's easy. I'm going to say Jude, but he wasn't the best player I played with at the time. He's the best player I played with now because he's the best player in the world.
Yeah.
The best player individual season was Alan Judge for Brentford. One season, he was the best thing I've ever seen. Could do everything, and then he got his leg broken off, and on the last game, like 2 games before the end of the season or something.
Could you see Jude? Sorry, Claire. Could you see Jude going on to do what he's doing now? In that, if you went back to 2020 now, and someone said to you, he's going to be playing for Real Madrid in 2024 and absolutely bossing it in Zidane's shirt, would you have believed that, or do you think it would have taken him a bit longer?
I think it is unbelievable. I mean, I knew the kid was unreal and the best player daily in training, and you knew he was going to go and have an amazing career. But I think it just shows how strong his mindset and character is. I just listened to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's podcast, and he tells a story about having Jude in the building. Yeah. He knew he was going Dortmund. Yeah. I mean, he knew his plan. He knew he was doing Dortmund. He knew he was going Real Madrid, and some people are just different, and he's different. Yeah,
definitely. Sorry, Claire.
No, it's okay. One game from your career that you'd love to go back to and relive?
I think that Stoke game. That last Stoke game for Birmingham, but Stoke away, I think, obviously scoring. I pulled my calf about 10 minutes into that as well, and I knew that I was going to be out for a little while afterwards. And it was just one of them games that everything went right for me. I just think I played well. Then the weather changed, and I loved that weather, and a little boy being in the crowd, my dad being in the crowd, and that was up there with one of my favourite ever games for Blues. That.
Mm-hmm.
Where was it? What's your favourite away ground?
It's got to be Sunderland or Sheffield Wednesday. And I'm only saying that from when I was on loan at Sheffield Wednesday, because we played them in the playoffs, and we played obviously Sunderland away, and I played at Wembley, and it was twice the atmosphere.
Yeah,
it was incredible. Leeds away is always good. Sheffield United away is always good, but I think based off of that experience for me, it has to be Sunderland. Yeah.
Sunderland, yeah.
And what was your pre-match routine and meal? So what do you normally do before a game? And has it changed over the time?
It's changed recently because of Eddie Abdu. I don't know if anyone knows who he is, but it just made me eat boiled eggs all the time. But I used to be, about 10 years ago, I used to be, same thing the night before, chicken and chorizo pasta. I lived with Adam Forshaw. I'd cook it for him. We'd both eat the same thing. And then as you get older, kids get involved. It's just, you know what you've got to eat, you know what's right to eat, and you just eat it at whatever time suits, really. I'm not that. I think if you start thinking too much into all that stuff, you'll end up slipping up somewhere.
Yeah. Would you eat at home before? So if you was playing at St Andrews at 3:00 on a Saturday, would you have your meal at home before you went to the ground, or would you have it at the ground? Or
again, all managers have been different. So sometimes some managers have said pre-match at home, others have made us go into the stadium for pre-match. So it's changed quite a lot, to be honest. It was always different with every manager.
Did you have a preference? Did you prefer eating at home, or did you prefer meeting up together and eating with everyone?
I actually preferred meeting up and eating pre-match together, but the only problem was you was then waiting around for 3 hours, and there's nothing to do in the stadium. So you eat, and then you're just waiting around until you end up having your meetings for the games or whatnot. So it is a lot of waiting about. But that was my preference. And that was probably a bit of laziness because I didn't want to cook myself as well.
And save the washing up as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Any more, Claire?
If you weren't a footballer, what would you have been?
This is always a question you get asked. I don't know, I would have probably gone to university. I was applying. I got into football late, so I done well in school, and I was applying to go Loughborough and do some sort of sports, something at university. So I'd have been in sports somewhere or the other, I imagine.
And the final one, because Paul's just asked it on the shout box. Have you got any superstitions? Left boot on first, left shin pad on first, then right and right.
Who was the funniest player at Blues you ever played with?
Well, apart from myself, it's tough. Who was the funniest? I'll tell you who's funny, who's there now, Christian Bielik.
Yeah.
But he doesn't mean to be funny. He's just funny, like one of them ones. You look at him and he'll just be sitting there daydreaming. He took his 2 front teeth out and he had a big gap in the middle of them.
Yeah.
And, it'll just make you laugh out of nowhere. David Davis was hilarious.
Yeah.
Still really close with him now. He's a funny guy, yeah. So probably him.
Yeah. He run his heart and soul for us as well, didn't he? To be fair to him. And Craig, obviously, I know that you've asked Harlee to do his 1 to 11, haven't you?
I have, but before I go on to that, there's one question that's been texted to me, and it was, how did it feel when you were at the club to have a chairman joining in full kit and wanting to be part of the training that was happening on the pitch?
Again, I think that was another reason I got myself in trouble with them all, because obviously as a captain, or I don't know if I was captain at the time or a senior pro or whatever. Do you know what? Even if I went a senior pro, if I see something I don't like, I'm going to say it, which has got me into trouble a lot of times. And it was bang out of order. Like a lot of things were bang out of order what they were doing, but it ended up getting so ridiculous that we were just used to it. Like he walks in one day with I think it was about $8,000, a bit of Parma ham on this big stick, because Mourinho had just done it for. Someone had just done it for Mourinho at Tottenham, and you're thinking, we're in financial crisis anyway, and you're buying this on club credit cards, and yeah. But again, got myself in trouble. But yeah, some of the things I could tell you some stories that I won't tell you, but you just wouldn't believe it.
We would.
We'll wait for your career to end, and then you can tell us everything.
You'll be in a non-book, but you'll know who it's from.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
yeah, go on, Paul.
1 to 11.
No, go on, mate. Go on, the floor is yours.
I was going to say, Harlee, I know I've asked you to do your 1 to 11, and we've had it said before how hard it is actually to do this. So over to yourself. So we'll start off, go through the team, and then we'll look at the captain and manager. So go far away then. Who's in goal?
In goals, John Ruddy. He was. Do you want me to explain about him as well?
Yeah.
I'd played with good goalies throughout my career, like a lot of Brentford, obviously a lot of Birmingham, Stocky, Kushak, Everidge. But I'd never played with someone like John before. I mean, it was just next. You just felt like there was a mountain behind you, and he was just that presence. Great guy off the pitch. Knew what he was. He was just so self-confident in himself that he made you feel more assured. That's all I can say about him. And he's obviously had a fantastic career, and I've seen some of the saves he made the weekend. He's still doing it now. So, yeah, top goalie. Right back, it's got to be Max Collin. I think we've played over 500 games with each other or something like that. So playing with him was just natural, and one of my best friends outside of football, and just a great guy. And another one who just gave everything to it daily. Centre backs, see, it's a tough one because I want to put, it's tough.
Sorry to interrupt you, Harlee. Somebody's just come back to me with Max. I remember when this shirt came out and he was modelling it on Instagram, and you commented, same colour as your teeth.
Yeah. It sounds about something I'd do, to be honest, yeah. But no, well, he's a good-looking kid, isn't he? So, can't moan too much. Centre backs, I'm going to go Morrow and Dion. It's tough. Like, I'd put Robbo in there, but I didn't really play that much with Robbo. I think we only had, it was either me or him that weren't playing. So, I'm going to have to leave Robbo out. But Robbo's got everything. He's fast, he's strong. He's just had a tough time of it. And the two that I picked, I think Morrow, me and him that season we just got it with each other. We just knew what was needed, and we didn't really have to tell each other anything. Like, I knew his weaknesses, he knew mine. I knew his strengths, he knew mine. Probably the only time was when he left me short against Wolves away, and I had to get a red card. But yeah, other than that, it was. I enjoyed playing with him. And Dion, again, I think when me, him, and Trusty played in that back three, especially for the first part of the season before I got injured, I thought it was really solid. I never felt like no one was going to score. And he's a great personality. He's a great kid, and I'm sure he's going to go and have a top career at Blues. Left back, I'm going to go Jonathan Grounds, but Christian Pedersen was close. But Christian Pedersen was the thickest geezer I've ever met, so I had to leave him out because he's that thick he got burgled by his neighbour. That's how thick he is. But that's a true story. But Brownsy was just a nice, solid, honest pro, give everything he could, knew what he could do, knew what he couldn't do. And I think he got a bit harshly treated, but I think he's actually back at Birmingham now with the under-15s doing some coaching. So I think he's my left back. Midfield, I'm gonna go. This is tough. It's gonna be like a diamond. So I've got Michael Kieftenbeld, David Davis, Jax Magoma, and Jude Bellingham.
Wow, yeah.
But I am leaving out Christian Bielik, who I think's a very good centre midfielder. But then for Digger, gave everything to the club, was an unbelievable professional, made me a better professional, made those around him a better professional with his work ethic and stuff like that. Kieft was Kieft. I mean, heart on the sleeve, would run for a brick wall, and just a great guy as well. And Mags, I know Mags was a left winger, but what a player. I especially remember that Gary Monk season with him on the left. He was everything that we needed at that time, would give us that outlet, get a goal, but be a dog in defence as well. And then Jude's got to be in there because for a 16-year-old to come into the team at that point and be the best player every day, every match day, and just be so humble and quiet at the same time, and to go on to do what he's done now. I mean, I've got to put him in just to say that I've played with him. Next level. And then two up top is Shay and Juki. I think that partnership, especially that season when Shay started working with James Beattie, I think Shay was on fire and he's gone on to have a great career. And I think Juki's probably arguably the Blues player of the last 10, 15 years for me. I don't think anyone's done more for the club and especially scored more important goals, and he epitomises Birmingham, and can't speak highly enough of him.
I think for me, he's the best player I've ever seen in a blue shirt at taking headed goals. He's just an absolute monster in the air, and he's unbelievable.
He's incredible at everything, and I'll tell you, he might not look like it, but he will cover more distance daily than anybody else in the whole squad because he works that hard. Yeah, he was 34 when I was there, 33, 34, and he would be the highest we're going in the charts, and he's the highest out of everyone. Yeah. So I think that shows what he's about, and whenever called upon, he's always ready as well, which is a massive thing to be, because a lot of people can sulk and not prepare properly, but he obviously doesn't. I think he come on and scored that big goal in the draw the other day against Hull, and I'm sure when they need him again, which they will, he'll produce.
Yeah. And in midfield, obviously, Hotter doesn't quite make it, does he? Or Gary Gardner or people like that as well?
No. Obviously, Jota would have made my Brentford one, but at Birmingham, as you said, it just never really happened for him. I was thinking about the midfield. It was a tough one because there was a lot of obviously played with a lot of players there, but just when I think about it, I think of that specific season.
Yeah, what about Czech Ndoye? Did he come into your thought process?
As a lottery winner, he definitely comes in. But again, what a lovely bloke. Like an unbelievable fella, but just absolutely useless at football, weren't he? But he was an unbelievable fella, and his work ethic was incredible. Like, we'd be doing training sessions. If there was a break, he'd just be on the floor doing 400 press-ups and then pull a skipping rope out of nowhere and just start skipping and stuff. And you know what? I spoke wrongly then. He's not a useless footballer. He's very niche to, like, his attributes were one thing, but we just never played to him. So
yeah,
it's hard, isn't it?
Yeah, no, definitely. Al, would you agree with that, Juki? Is he the best you've seen in your time of taking headed goals, or did you see somebody better before my time?
It's a very good question.
Yeah. It's a tough
Bob
one.
Latchford. Bob Latchford would be the closest, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He used to head not only the ball but the goalkeeper as well. And going back a bit further than that, even Ken Leake was a great header of the ball. But certainly for the last 25, 30 years, there's nobody been close. The one I remember from Dukey was last year at Reading. He equalised. I can't remember.
The head across from the left-hand side.
Yeah.
Unbelievable header.
And I was right behind that, and it went like a bullet. The goalkeeper, 3 goalkeepers wouldn't have stopped it. It was such a good. Again, another game we should have won, but we didn't. Away from home.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, sorry, Paul. I was gonna say to Harlee, you put Bielik in midfield there. Do you think that's his best position? Because he has been filling in defence as well. But do you reckon midfield is his best position for us?
Yeah, he's definitely his best position. He's not brave enough to be a centre half. I know football's changing and stuff like that, but he'll tell you himself he's a bit worried about certain situations. So I think that base of midfield. I think he was. I really enjoyed playing with him last year under Eustace. But again, obviously styles change and then it affects people. Obviously, Rooney come in and wanted to play all-out football, and when you haven't got the players to do that, it's gonna be difficult. And I've seen a lot of managers come to Birmingham and try and do that, and unfortunately, it never really worked.
Exactly. Any good pranks you can tell us about Harlee amongst the lads, like, or any funny stories?
Oh, any stories?
You must have played some pranks. You must have cut someone's clothes up or something, I would imagine.
Oh, well, the one that comes to mind is when, he's obviously, it don't matter, Craig Gardner. So when he was a player, me and him used to just do a load of pranks on people, and we took one of the Masseur's cars, drove it up to the training pitch, and just covered it in loads of like flour, eggs, and shaving foam. And just had it parked there for when the lads come out to train, and obviously he has to come up and watch training. But it backfired because, long story short, he then went on to clean the car, but then clean the inside of the car out, but we hadn't done anything to the inside of the car, and said that his missus's engagement ring was in the centre console and that we'd lost it. Which we obviously didn't, but we didn't argue with him, and we obviously then had to replace the engagement ring. That was one of them. I've got a great one. I got it on video to Dukey actually. Before the changing rooms got done, he used to wear these terrible shoes because one thing about Dukey, he is tight as they come. So he'll wear this same pair of shoes for 10 years. And I just had enough of them. They were annoying me. So he used to put them up in his locker and shut the lid on them. So I've got a load of super glue and I've glued the bottom of them to the obviously the locker. So I've got a video, and he goes to take them off for 20 minutes. He's trying to peel these shoes off. He's got another one of the physios, Harry, pull him one. Anyway, they're ripping, all the leather comes off and the sole stays there. and it stayed there until they revamped the dressing room.
Brilliant.
We had a lot of fun times, to be honest. And
were you ever brave enough to do anything to Endoy?
No one went near him. He used to put this cream on, right? He'd make his own cream up in the changing room, and I sat next to him in the change room. And once he put this cream on, there'd be a 10-foot radius around him. It stunk. I couldn't tell you what it was. It was the worst thing you've ever smelt. But like, he covered himself in it, and like no one went near him. It was like horse manure mixed with petrol, mixed with. It was disgusting.
I want some of that.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to meet him in a dark alley, would you?
Claire, anything else you want to ask?
How's it in Bromsgrove? I used to go to the pub by your house.
Oh, really? We love it here. As I said, kids are Brummies, so this is home now. I don't think we'll ever leave. I don't think we'll ever go back down south. And we enjoy it. I think it's so much nicer. I think the further you go north, the nicer the people get, to be honest. And down south, it's just too fast paced now. I've been used to this sort of laid back lifestyle a little bit. So I think this is home now for us, and we love it.
That's good.
And apart from the Blues, if you had to sign for somebody, who would you sign for? Like next in your career, say if Reading didn't work out.
Oh, I'd sign somewhere local so I don't have to drive down to Reading every day.
Bromsgrove
Who's round the corner? Solihull Moors.
What about Cambridge? What about Cambridge? Get the Morrow partnership going again?
Oh yeah, back with Gary. I'd do that in an heartbeat, but it's getting a bit of driving, isn't it?
Crikey, you don't want to go far, do you?
Sorry?
You don't want to go far, do you?
No,
Bromsgrove Rovers.
I know. I haven't thought about it, to be honest. I've got another year.
Shrewsbury.
Alvechurch is just down the road from me, so might go and see if they need it.
It's a nice little set-up there.
We've got a great question here from Martin Swinsko. You're the manager tomorrow night, Harlee. What would you say to the boys before they go out?
What would I say to the boys before they go out? I'd just say don't give them an inch. Just be all over them. Just don't never say die. It's never over. I wouldn't worry too much about how we're going to play and style of play and stuff like that. It would just be let's go out there and fight. And that's what John Eustace was brilliant at. Like we do post-match debriefs, and the first 5 minutes he would show the duels that we've won, like the tackles, and you go, I love that. Like, it'd just be people smashing people, and he made such an emphasis on that being important that we never got rolled over by a team really. I think football's going away from that for me. I think it's all tippy-tappy now and a lot more tactical, and the championship's the championship. Do you know what I mean? You just got to roll your sleeves up, have a fight, be good on set pieces, and like, I'd love to watch the Millwall Birmingham game the weekend. I know you obviously got beat, but I imagine that was a proper old school championship match looking at it.
Yeah.
We've come to the end.
I want to end the show by thanking you for all your efforts for us, Harlee. You know, you ran through a brick wall for us during the time with us, and you was a good captain as well. And thanks for all your efforts, mate, and thanks for the time and memories, mate. And that goal against Fulham, I think, is my best memory of you. You know, that when you scored that opening goal in that game, it was massive, and the sun was shining. I was in the Legends Lounge that day as well, so it was a good memory of mine. And it was Paul Robinson, and I know Paul pretty well as well, and it was his last professional appearance as well.
Didn't they, late on?
Yeah.
Robbo's a great guy as well. Again, that's what I was going to say. Like, who's probably all of your guys in the last 10 years, your favourite Blues player? Like, that's I'm relating that to Juki and people like that. I mean, the most important for me is Juki, but you lot support in different ways.
I think for me, like, I'd go with Juki. I mean, I love Jude, but like you say earlier, he wasn't at the level he's at now. As much as I liked him, but Juki just sums everything up. He's just different level.
Yeah. I think for longevity, I'd agree, but I think Robbo as well did well for us. You know, he was an important captain as well. Certainly during some really, really tough times as well, you know. It was even worse then. So,
importance-wise, I think so.
Don't blow you up too much, Harlee, but you'll be on my... you'll be always the first bloke on the team list for me.
I appreciate it.
Oh, yeah, of course. We had this defender called Harlee Dean.
I meant Juki second. Second, I meant Juki, yeah. Second most important.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Okay, is that full time, Chris?
It is, yeah. We've gone over 3 minutes. We're into Fergie time.
It's worth it. So thanks everyone for watching tonight, and thanks Harlee for your time. And we've been the Tilton Talk Show, sponsored by Smaller Ball Cars. I'm Paul Hipkiss, and it's good night from me, and it's good night from Mark Adams.
Cheers, Paul. It's good night from me, and it's good night from Claire Giblin.
It's a good night from me, and it's good night from Craig Courtney.
And it's a good night from me. Thank you, Harlee, for joining us. And it's a good night from Alan Watson.
It's good night from me. I've managed to keep my cough under control. And it's a good night from Chris Brown.
And it's a good night from me, and it's a good night from Harlee.
And it's a good night from me, and it's a good night from my dogs.
Thank you.
Cheers, Harlee.
He never gives a ball.
Thanks a lot, guys. See you later.
Cheers, mate. Yeah.
Cheers.
Mark, you feel as though you got a friend yet?
You know what? I wanted to ask Harlee if I could get a season ticket holder. I could get him a ticket for 30 quid for 2 games. What do you reckon?
What are you going to ask for a shirt or memorabilia or something?
The night is still young, there.
You've told him where he lives now. He's in trouble. He's going to burn the out.
I've just noticed, where's Mark Meredith?
Vegas.
You know that American fella that comes on now and again.
Oh yeah.
Tidy Lang. Where is he?
Tom Wagner's been on.
That's the lower the tone than every week.
Mark, you slopping out tonight?
As always. Why wouldn't I, Craig?
Don't use the road.